Hi everyone, welcome back to our How To series at St. Thomas. My name is Matthew and I have unbrushed hair. If it bothers you, I'm sorry. Today we're going to be talking about trust. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to be reading from my notepad a little bit today, guys. Um, there's just some important points that I have down that I don't want to mess up. So I hope you can bear with me. Anyway, once again, yes, we're going to be talking about trust and how to build trust. Now, trust forms a very important part of our lives, and as a community, as a society, it's a very important foundation of it. An example of why I say trust is so important is because, well, we trust our parents to get us to school on time. We trust our friends and family to keep our secrets. We trust waiters and waitresses to bring our food after we've ordered it. We trust people driving cars not to knock us as we cross the road or as we walk on the pavement. Those are just a few examples of trust off the top of my head, but I hope it says a lot. It shows how trust is evident in everything that we do. How we trust ourselves not to jump off the roof or cut ourselves with a knife. Again, it's all about trust. So, with that being said, we're going to be talking about how to build trust with other people and the different components of it. Now, to build trust with someone else, or for two people to build trust between each other, they both need to identify the other person as being trustworthy. Makes sense? Yeah, this thing keeps falling out of my ear. That's better. We need to trust that, again, everyone is trustworthy in the situation. So, we've broken this down into three parts. Number one is empathy. Now, when building or forming a bond of trust, you need to be empathetic towards the other person, and they need to be empathetic towards you. When I mean empathy, I mean both parties involved here need to understand that you need to be able to basically understand what the other person is feeling. Now, I'm not saying the other person is going to understand your whole life story or everything, all the trauma that you've gone through in your life, and oh, that one terrible test that you failed and it just haunted you for the rest of your life. We're not talking about that, but it's this mutual understanding of each other's, to how you feel as a person, how you make me feel as a person. And once we are able to empathize with one another, and we are able to put ourselves in each other's shoes for just a brief moment, that bond is formed. And empathy is such an important part because if I don't feel comfortable with you, you won't feel comfortable with me. And if we aren't comfortable with each other, how are we going to trust each other? It's just, it's logic. It's logic. Now, of course, with that being said, um, if you struggle with empathy, this is it's going to be a bit tough for you. I don't believe that anyone is truly completely devoid of being empathetic, because to some degree you will understand how someone else feels. But anyway, empathy is a very vital part of forming trust between two people. And with empathy comes communication. And when I talk about communication, I'm talking about making sense when we talk. If you don't make sense when you talk, I'm not going to trust you. The same way, if I start shouting and going on a rant for no reason, you're not going to trust me, because why would you? I'm not making sense. I'm not being logical. I'm being crazy. And we find that people don't often trust others who don't make sense. So, again, when we're talking to other people, we need to make sure that we are communicating our points effectively, and we are communicating in a way that makes sense to that person. And the same goes with them. If someone is communicating with you, but they're just going crazy and shouting or just talking absolute rubbish, and then they ask you to give me your for you to give them your password for your phone, you're not going to do that. I know that's a bit of an extreme situation, but you're not going to do that. Why? Because you don't trust them. There is no trust. You don't believe that someone that's being so irrational is going to be trustworthy. That's just how people are hardwired. So we have empathy and we have communication, logical communication, making sense. So what's the last part? So the last part is going to be being authentic. Now, when I talk about being authentic, I mean being yourself. Being yourself is such an important part of any relationship that's trying to build some kind of trustworthy bond, because being authentic is being who you are. Now, it's always easy to say, yes, be who you are. Who am I? What does that mean? But being who you are simply means not trying to be something you're not. I know that kind of just sounds so simple. Oh, yeah, you just said that. But what I mean by don't be something you're not, or rather be who you are, I mean, let's think about it in a bit of a logical sense. For some reason, people know when you're not being yourself. People are bloodhounds. They can just sniff out when you are just you're trying too hard, or you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, or you're just trying to be something that you're not. People know when you're doing that. Believe me, even when you think you're the best actor in the world, people know when you're not being authentic to yourself. And that creates a barrier when forming trust, because it says if you cannot be honest with me or with yourself, then how am I supposed to trust you? And I think this is a very important point, because so more often than not, we find ourselves in these situations that calls for us to maybe not feel like we need to act as ourselves. We think that our friends want us to act in a different way. And the minute we do that, what we're actually doing is we're going against who we are. And in so doing, we're showing others that they can actually not trust us as much as they thought. Because if you have your morals in place, if you have your boundaries in place, you should not compromise them for other people. That's just how it goes. Because if you're willing to compromise something for yourself, how am I, the other person, supposed to trust you? And again, that is why being authentic is so important. There are situations, however, that I completely understand where it just feels like you cannot be who you need to be. And putting on a mask is a lot easier, and it's not worth the risk. Trust is not worth the risk, basically, of someone else finding out who or what you are inside. And this is often due to us as group leaders, as parents, as influential people. And when I say influential, I mean anyone is an influential person. If a 5-year-old sees you doing something, chances are they're going to want to do it too, if you know what I mean. Unless their parents, who they trust more, says don't do it. But the point is, people in influential roles need to create an environment for others to be themselves, to be their true, authentic selves. And again, that is up to us. So this part I'd say is basically for parents, people in leadership positions, or anyone that finds himself in an influential position over someone else. You need to be able to create that environment that shows other people that it's okay to be you. Because at the end of the day, you don't want someone in your life that is not who they are. That's not authentic to who they are. So, to wrap things up, empathy, making sense when you're talking, when you're communicating, and being authentic are pretty much the building blocks of how we're going to start building trust in today's world. With that being said, thank you everyone for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Peace.